Hey everyone, Big Red 310's back again with a shoot wrestling video. Yes, I said the word shooters. I know fucking 5 people are gonna freak out after hearing that term. But yeah, here I am, face on camera. What the fuck? I can't even remember the last time I did one of these things. It's been well over a month. I know the last time I was on camera was, I believe, when the Heat won the championship. But let me see. I did a review of Chikara Source Rex a month ago, but an actual shoot video? God damn. It's been a while. I guess the WrestleMania weekend thoughts 3 months ago. So there we go. Even though that's sort of a review too. God damn. I'm looking through my videos right now. Jesus. I guess my year-end awards, which was 6 months ago. I do too many reviews on this channel. For those that, I've gotten several complaints. For those that do not like my all sides of the wrestling world format, let me just say that this is no offense to the trademarks, the LVs, all those people of the world. None whatsoever. This is just how I prefer to do things. I feel that in this day and age, with YouTube the way it is, you're going to miss a lot of videos. YouTube is awful right now. I miss so many of my videos. I recently, with Trademark, about a month ago, cleared out my sub box and like unsubscribed to like 100 people, because the way YouTube is now, that you can't delete videos from your homepage, you just it's no good. Like legitimately, it's awful. You cannot, like, you can't keep track of anything. The videos you don't want, you can't just X them out. They're like just there. There's nothing you can do about it. So YouTube is, I don't go on the YouTube page anymore because I don't have my saved videos anymore because they eventually get overridden. Now I just go to individuals, people's channels. In this day and age, with this fucking shitty ass format, when we do so many reviews like that, I mean, they're going to get forgotten. They always get forgotten because the videos just get deleted. So I feel that when I review 8 shows at once, if I do one review video every 2 to 3 weeks as opposed to doing one every 2 to 3 days, I feel it comes off better. I feel like it feels like more of a big deal. Like people are like, oh, wow, Big Rat decided to grace us with his presence and thoughts. How lucky are we? You see, you should think thank you. And of course, some asshole's gonna comment like, wow, you're such a prick. Fucking guys don't know how to take a joke. But yeah, my drink of choice, by the way, Arizona green tea. Love that shit. That's what that box is in the back. Alright, this is gonna be a video that I've wanted to do for a long time. And recently now with Raw, I haven't seen today's Raw, but apparently it was really awful. And with people really going off on how bad Raw is, I thought I'd just like to give my thoughts on the whole thing as far as the cyclical nature of WWE. Because honestly, for a long time now, I view WWE as a cycle. Like people think that I'm too nice, that I'm not harsh enough on the WWE when it's bad. It's not true. I don't see it as a big deal. I think a lot of people really unnecessarily overreact to pro wrestling, especially Raw, when it's bad, because I just think it's a cycle that we go through every year, and you just gotta accept it. Because the way they book and their mindset makes the cycle the way it is. And I'll explain. I will start off by saying from December to April, every year, the WWE is usually really good. I mean, I think this past year was a slight exception because of the Kane-John Cena feud, which is one of the worst feuds in a long time. But generally, the December pay-per-view, the TLC pay-per-view, is usually a great show because of the nature of the stipulation. The Royal Rumble, everyone's usually really excited on the road to WrestleMania. Same with Elimination Chamber, which is also usually a really good to great show. And then you have Mania, which obviously, usually the Mania TV is really good. Usually, even if you don't like the feud, usually the build to WrestleMania, the few weeks leading up to it, the TV isn't bad. It's pretty enjoyable stuff. And you can always find something you like on the shows. Whether you like one thing or another, it doesn't matter. You'll find something that you like. And then in April, they just redo the WrestleMania matches every year. And so because of that, the April show comes off really well. And the TV building to the April show comes off well. Then May to June, they kind of fall apart. But let me explain why. These months, December through April, I think is when the WWE is on its game because of the WrestleMania build. When it comes to the WrestleMania build, the WWE gets focused. That is the key to everything. Focus. This company is so unfocused throughout the year. Everything in their mindset is building towards WrestleMania. So when it's not WrestleMania season, they're just kind of lost and confused. With WrestleMania, from like December, they pretty much know. I mean, I think this past year was an exception, but by the Royal Rumble, they pretty much know what the main event is going to be, what the semi-main is going to be, what the world title matches are going to be. And come on, in January when Jericho was making his return, everyone was saying Jericho Punk WrestleMania. Rock Cena had been announced a year in advance. Undertaker, Triple H, I think by December, January, we all pretty much knew that was the match. Like, and then the focus, when they get focused, that's when the booking is usually good. That's why I don't think when people say the WWE's booking is awful, I agree that Stephanie McMahon does not know how to book to save her life, and a lot of these creative guys, the creative in the sense, really do not know what they're doing. But at the end of the day, Vince, I really do believe that come WrestleMania season, they're focused. They know who has to go over at WrestleMania. They got a general idea of what they have to do. Do they still make mistakes? Hell yeah. But because they're focused, I think it's so much easier to stay on topic and to stay on their current storylines as opposed to changing their minds all the time. Because they change it, when they're not focused and they're changing their minds like crazy, their attention is not on the storyline itself. It's on the changes in the storyline as opposed to the quality of the development. Their focus is more on, okay, how do we get out of this? What are we doing for next week? What are we doing for next week? It's not like WrestleMania, well, this is the end result, so this is how we should do it. Because they do the week-to-week booking, they're kind of just like, what's going on? And WrestleMania, I'm not saying they don't do week-to-week. It's just, it's a lot less, I guess, is the phrase to say, because they know what, at the end of the day, they know what the end result is. At the end of the day, they know what their pay-per-view is for WrestleMania. So it's not like a lot of these shows where, like, when Over the Limit ends, they don't know what the main event is to what was that show? No Way Out. When No Way Out ends, they have no idea what the show is till Money in the Bank. Hell, Dave Meltzer was reporting that the day after No Way Out, WWE was thinking of putting Cena off the July pay-per-view because he didn't have an opponent. And then the fucking next week, he's in the Money in the Bank match. This just proves that they do not have this shit planned out. And because, again, their mentality is on how do we get out of this tough scenario? How do we create a pay-per-view main event? It's not, here's our main event. How do we create a good build to the main event? It's just like, we need a main event. We need a match because we don't know what we're doing. Because they're focused from December through April, I would say, they kind of have a good idea what they're doing. That's why the product isn't bad. Now, May and June, and another problem with WWE is that they have no foresight. WrestleMania is the be-all and end-all and no consideration whatsoever for what happens afterwards. They can put all their attention, and trust me, I love the dude. He's right there on my wall. I love you. I really do. But they put all their attention on Undertaker's feuds every year at WrestleMania. It's either the number 1 or number 2 match on the show. But he's not going to wrestle for a full year. So when he leaves, it's like, oh shit, the number 1 or number 2 attention on the show is gone. What the fuck are we going to do? We don't know what we're doing. That's the problem. I think they got lucky this year with Brock Lesnar coming back. Although, at the same time, they couldn't really rematch Rock Cena for the April pay-per-view. I didn't really think that was going to happen. But thankfully, they got something just as big, in my opinion. Well, just as noteworthy, I guess, to take over for the April show. Now, the problem, like I said, in May, June, because they have no foresight for what happens after WrestleMania, their whole mentality is WrestleMania, the be-all, end-all. They don't care what happens afterwards. That's why they're kind of lost, and they don't really know what they're doing. And then they start throwing shit together. Usually, by June, mid-June, Vince McMahon comes up with a crazy idea to spark up business, thinking for not really a summer angle, but just something crazy that, in his opinion, will spark up business. I'm talking more like the last 4 to 5 years or so. For instance, in 2007, they had the Vince blowing up in a limo. Oh, 2006, he brought back DX. 2007, we had Vince blowing up in a limo. 2008 was the $1 Million Mania. 2009 was a guest GM on every show. 2010 was Nexus, and 2011 was the CM Punk stuff. So usually, by mid-June, they just get so fucking panicky because, again, they don't know what they're doing and they need their attention on something. So they create some summer angle that can get them through the next few weeks. And that's why the past 2 years, the summer Raw during the summer, like July, August, has usually been really good. Because, again, they come up with something to focus on. Because they don't think May, June, okay, what's our new thing to focus on? They're just like, well, let's just get through this while we can. And then June, they kind of say, okay, Now we need to think about this. Let's focus on this. And they create their summer angle. I guess this year's summer angle was the AJ angle. I guess that's their idea of doing something different. Obviously, I don't think so. I think that was just them not being focused again and not coming up with a blockbuster summer angle because they had nothing. There were reports that they really badly wanted to come up with something, but I don't think they had anything. And so SummerSlam usually also, my bad, I should have finished this. I knew this, but I didn't connect on it on an earlier thought when I said that they start their focus in June, but they don't have it in May and July. They start their focus in July, but they don't have it in May and June. That's because SummerSlam's around, and SummerSlam's the third biggest show of the year, and the second biggest that's not associated with the WrestleMania season. So they're kind of like, okay, SummerSlam's coming. What's our matches going to be? Okay, let's get to work, and that's why the July to August Raws are usually really good. Whereas in May, they're not preparing for SummerSlam. They're just like, let's get us through this right now. So that's why I really think the 1000th Raw episode is going to be a really good show. I think they have a lot of guys coming in that'll make the show fresh. It'll be interesting. There'll be so many different characters in play that you'll be interested in something on the show. They'll have something for everyone. Brock will return. They'll do some angle with Brock and Triple H that people will love. I think that's going to be a really good show. I think the build to SummerSlam is going to be good because with Heyman and Brock's going to be coming back, I think people are going to get more excited. I think the world title feuds, people are starting to get ready for SummerSlam, and that's why. And again, like last year, people were fine with the build to SummerSlam, and then after SummerSlam, again, they have no focus. They have no idea what the fuck they're doing because SummerSlam's gone. WrestleMania and Royal Rumble are not for a while away. So now what? That's why the fall is usually awful. September, October, Survivor Series, they don't treat it anymore like it normally is. But September, October, they're just fucking confused. And then it's more of the May, June bullshit of just, okay, we don't have a focus right now, so let's just fucking throw shit together and get us through these 2 months. And then in November, mid-November, they sort of like, okay, Survivor Series around the corner, so we'll probably get 2 weeks of good Raws. Even though last year it's fucking terrible because we had a god-awful angle, in my opinion, the worst build-up in pro wrestling history, the Rock Cena versus Cena Truth versus Miz Truth. However, if you remember in 2010, the Survivor Series angle, a lot of people really liked. I was at that show, and I remember, people won't admit it now, but that show had a lot of buzz. A lot of people were really, really interested to see that show, where it was Barrett versus Orton, Cena was the guest referee, and everyone was like, and if Barrett won, then Cena would be released from Nexus if he won the title, but if Barrett lost, Cena would be fired. And everyone was really excited. They're like, oh my God, is Cena going to turn heel? Oh my God, is Barrett going to win the title? Ooh, what's going on? Everyone was really, really into it. And then they fucking had the bullshit clean finish where Orton pins Barrett out of nowhere. Cena counts the pin, and then Cena's fired, and that was awful. But the build up to that show was really good. Those Raws were really good. People were really interested to see, oh my God, is Cena going to turn? Last year it was bad, but it's usually hit or miss. If the angle for Survivor Series is good, the Raws will be good. If the angle's bad, if the main event angle is good, the Raws will be good. If the main event's bad, the Raws will be bad. That's just how it is. But September, October is more disaster, lack of focus, don't know what the fuck you're doing. November, it's hit or miss. Sometimes they have focus because they have a good angle. Sometimes it's like, we have Rock on the pay-per-view, who gives a fuck? And then no focus there either. And then, like I said, December, I think the nature of that show, the stipulations kind of carry it. I mean, just like Money in the Bank, like people are crapping on this build, and I agree the build hasn't been good, but I do think that pay-per-view will be at least good. I will dare say it's almost impossible for it to not be good, and I think it's a very good chance it's going to be a great show. I mean, right now it only has 4 matches, which kind of worries me, but at the end of the day, I mean, the SmackDown Money in the Bank match is probably going to be like every Money in the Bank match every year. It's probably going to be a lot of fun. It's probably going to be a great match. And the Raw Money in the Bank match, people are crapping on it, but those 4 guys have been in this business a while. And I remember when Big Show and Kane were in the 2007 Money in the Bank SmackDown match to 2010. And I really liked that match. I liked that match a lot. That was my favorite match on that pay-per-view, the one where Kane won. And I remember the day that show happened, people were crapping on that match. They were like, oh, bro, man, this match went 27 fucking minutes. Kane won. What is this shit? And I watched it, and I'm like, that's a very, very well-constructed match that told a great story. And I really think this match is going to tell a great story, just like that one did. So I'm excited for it. And Punk Bryan, I know people are mad about the AJ thing, but it's impossible to have these 2 guys in the main event and it not be a good match. I'm sorry. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's another great effort. So yes, Money in the Bank, like TLC, I think the nature of the stipulations kind of carry the pay-per-view. I think that's why, like, you know, a lot of people are excited for those shows, even when the build's not good, like I am, because I know it'll be a good show. So TLC, the build kind of carries the show, even though the build is also hit or miss because they kind of don't really have focus. But the build is good, but the pay-per-view is going to be good. And then Royal Rumble, No Way Out, WrestleMania. Their whole mindset is WrestleMania. April, they don't have a focus, but they're like, oh, well, the WrestleMania feuds are still hot. Let's just redo them. And that's been their formula. I'll never forget it. Someone showed me this. From 2004, 2005, did the exact same main event, both pay-per-views in a row. It's a one thing to continue the feud, maybe add someone, different stipulation, something. No, it was legitimately the exact same match. Benoit, Triple H, Michaels for the title. Both pay-per-views, and also Triple H versus Batista, regular singles match for the title, both pay-per-views. It was the same exact match. And then, like, Backlash the next year, 2006, it had, like, Edge, John Cena. They threw an Edge in the mix as a way to change it. Just like last year, they threw in John Morrison into the Miz-Cena feud as a way to change it. But basically, they redo the Mania matches, and they don't really have, that's their fault. They don't really have a set goal, a set endpoint. They're just like, okay, well, the Mania feuds are still hot. Let's redo them. That's why April usually is really good. And like I said, May, June, clueless. July, August, they got to focus and the TV gets better. September, October, clueless. November, hit or miss. December, it's going to have a good pay-per-view no matter what. So when you calculate it all up, in my opinion, there are 6 months of the year that are guaranteed to be good WWE television and 4 months that are guaranteed to suck and 2 months that are hit or miss in November and December. Actually, I'll say December is more of a miss than a hit because, again, they're not really focused on progressing the WrestleMania angles. They're just kind of like, we have a pay-per-view, but I know the pay-per-view is going to be good. So I'll say 5 months guaranteed are going to suck and 1 month's hit or miss in Survivor Series. So 6 months of guaranteed good television, 5 months of guaranteed bad television, 1 maybe. So when Raw sucks these past few years, and Raw sucks, I've said this a million times, Raw mainly sucks when the main event angle sucks. When the main event angle is fine, it's not that bad. Because Vince McMahon puts the main event angle all over the television. I've always thought that was a problem with WWE television, where they kind of over-dilute the main event program. I get it's the main event program and it's a big deal, but they show it over and over and over again throughout the show that if it's good, you're okay with it. But if the angle is bad, you're really not going to like it. That's why this AJ angle, it's all over the product, and that's why a lot of people hate it. The John Cena Kane angle, all over the fucking product. The Big Show Laurinaitis thing, which I didn't mind. I thought that feud was okay. But I know a lot of people who didn't like it. All over the television. That's their problem. That their main stuff is all over the TV. And because it's all over the TV, if it sucks, you're really going to hate it. That's why in November of last year, I really hated the Cena Rock Miz Truth feud because I thought the feud sucked and it was all over the television. So when the main event angle's good, Raw's usually good. When it's bad, it's usually bad. Raw's usually bad. The main event angle is usually good around WrestleMania season and SummerSlam season. And whenever Survivor Series decides to have a good main event. That's just the nature of it is. So when everyone complains about Raw, I just say, hey, it's a cycle. I know that by the 1,000th episode of Raw, guaranteed, that show, people are going to start liking Raw again. And then I know that the day after SummerSlam, they're going to start hating it again. I'll never forget this. When Punk was hot, and they had that great pay-per-view in Money in the Bank, and everyone was going crazy, oh my god, WWE's back. And then August came, and people weren't happy that Punk came back, but the SummerSlam pay-per-view itself, a lot of people thought was still great. The fucking day after SummerSlam, Todd Martin, and I love Todd Martin's Raw reports, it's a shame that he's dumping them. Todd Martin on Figure4Wrestling.com wrote a Raw report the day after SummerSlam, because the Raw was really bad. And he wrote a report, like at the end of his final thoughts, he wrote a big 5-paragraph thing saying, I thought that the adult wrestling fans would come back to pro wrestling, but boy, was I wrong. And I was just like, dude, you should have gotten it. It's a cycle. This is when Raw starts to suck, dude. Sorry. So whenever you guys don't like Raw, don't harp on it. Just tell yourselves, well, right now it's no good. It's going to get good. Then it's going to suck again. Then it's going to get good. Then it's going to suck again. That's why I don't really care. People always ask my thoughts about Raw. I don't really care. When it's good, great. When it's not good, it sucks. What are you going to do? It's not a big deal. They go through this cycle. It's eventually going to get better. And then it's eventually going to suck again. That's just how WWE booking is. It's been like that for a while. If that bothers you, sorry. If you hate inconsistency, then this isn't the product for you. But when people say like, "Oh, why do people still watch Raw? Oh, why do people still watch Raw?" It's because people eventually get what they want, and then they eventually start to suck again. So yeah, there's nothing more I can really say. That's the cyclical nature of WWE. And if you get the cyclical nature, then it's easier to sit through the product. You can be like me. When I watch the shows, I'm just like, this sucks. Wonderful. But, well, I don't watch Raw live anymore. I watch it on DVR, and I watch it like in 20 minutes. But I don't really care because it's going to get good in a few weeks, and then it's going to suck again, then it's going to get good, then it's going to get suck, then it's going to suck again. That's WWE television. All you can hope for is a decent main event angle, or at best, a good pay-per-view. And I know we're getting a good pay-per-view this Sunday. That's why I'm not so negative, because we're getting a good pay-per-view. And SummerSlam's going to be a good pay-per-view. And Night of Champions is going to suck, and Hell in a Cell is going to suck. Survivor Series is hit or miss. TLC is going to be a good pay-per-view. What do you want? That's all you can do. But with that, Daniel Bryan's main eventing a pay-per-view this weekend. I'm excited for that. So I'm Big Red 310. I'm out. Oh, before I go out, Soda Popinski 82. Next big thing, Brian True Slayer. I asked my friend Brian 2 weeks ago if he wanted to come on and be the next guest of Shooting with the Shooters, because I have several Q&A questions that we never got to, and I wanted to talk about several things with him. And then True Slayer fucking snags him up and does his own 2-video series with him. That pissed me off. But don't worry. I understand that the WWE is trying to keep down poor independent scene down, but I made that son of a bitch. I got his ass over on the internet. And he shall make his return to Shooting with the Shooters. We are going to do a video. Whether, I don't care if True Slayer steals my material or not. We're coming up with new stuff and it'll be better. I promise you that. Send questions to Next Big Thing at my inbox. Please do not post them in the comments. Send them to my inbox. I have other questions and I'll give them all of them on the next show. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm Big Red 310. I don't know why I'm pointing at you with a gun, but I'm out. See you.